So how do you deal with, if someone says to you, oh, what do you do for a living? And you say, I'm a bare knuckle boxer. What's the normal reaction you get, and how
God,
do you feel?
to be honest with you, the way I am outside of my personal life, I like to be in the room, but I don't talk about boxing
Yeah.
or fighting. So, but when it does happen, and they ask me what I am, I just say, I'm a boxer. I hate saying it. I like, because they just think I'm a thug, like, you
Yeah,
know. But
exactly,
I love.
exactly.
But to be fair, most people know, and they see me more. That they don't see the bare knuckle. They see the hard work and dedication, because they always see me training. They always see me uploading on my Instagram and my socials. But when people do ask, and I say, yeah, I'm a bare knuckle fighter, and they go, okay, and then they do their research, and then they go, wow, you fight with no gloves on. What's it like? I say, yeah, I break my hands the first round every fight. I can't hold my coffee for 3 months after, you know? And then it's more of the intrigued, and they want to know things that like why bare knuckle? What's the difference? And they ask a lot of people ask some good questions. You know, sometimes I do a lot of Instagram lives because I have a fantastic following with the Instagram, and I like to give back. You know, if people are following me and they follow my journey, just chat.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. It's a great way to interact with your fans, and but I also show them the humbleness. You know, that I can be that person, but outside of my life, I'm not that person. You know, it's more to damn than just fighting. Like, so for me, is I've built enough life experience to be more than just fighting, and that's what I'm more proud of. Is I've built that through my life experiences, that I know that if boxing is over, that's not the end of me. There's more to damn than just fighting. Because you look at the sports stars over the years where the careers ended and then they've turned to drugs and alcohol or got obese or end up taking overdoses because all they were was that sport. And without that anymore, they feel like they're useless. Like, I remember watching a podcast with Mike Tyson, and he was upset, he was crying, and he was like, sometimes I just wish I was that man again. I'm like the baddest fighter on the planet. And then he goes, no, I don't. I actually don't wish I was that guy anymore. And that really set a tone me, and I think he's right. Like, I know there's more to us than just that. You know, we are humans. We have arms, legs, eyes. When people say things, it hurts us. And as men, we don't show that. But I think, again, when we talk about mental health, suicides, masculinity, in sport, we don't show no weakness. It was absurd to show that weakness if you was a sport, if you're into sport, because that was a sign that maybe you're beatable,
Especially combat sports.
especially combat sport, you know. So, but the fact that I can show weakness now and vulnerability, I'm so grateful for, because I can be in a room full of nobodies or anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, and I can show weakness and vulnerability. And if anybody thinks that's a sign of weakness, shame on you, because that shows me how weak you are, because I know that you can't show that vulnerability. But that's me at my strongest, because I can show that. I can talk about things. Like in the beginning of the college, I got a little bit upset, but I can talk about it. I can express my feelings on that. And I think for men, I think, you know, when we come to friendships and relationships, that's what we don't do enough, is communicate. You know, we hide our feelings, we hide emotion. The only ever time you'll ever show that is around your children, usually. Or your wife might see a glimpse of that, because she expects you to be the man of the house. I get that. But because a man cries or gets upset doesn't mean that he's weak. Far from that. You know, I think men need to understand that it's okay to show that. It doesn't mean you're going to be a fucking crybaby, you know. But I'm on about when it comes to friends, families, and things that happen in your life. It's okay to show that you're disappointed. It's okay to show that maybe a special moment in your family that's got you upset because you got overwhelmed. That's okay to show that. Fucking hell, you know, we are human beings at the end of the day.
Well, I think the true strength is shown when you can embrace every emotion at its fullest, right?
100%.
So if you can embrace sadness, loss, disappointment, and you can show that, and then you also embrace the big moments when you win and your hands in the air and everyone thinks you're the man. If you can embrace all of that, that shows true character and true strength, you know?
And I think that's what I am in my career now, where I feel so privileged I can even just sit here and talk about these things. And this only happened after I won my world title against Sean George. And I thought, I had a guy from fucking, it was BBC, or it was a big channel, he said, Dan, he was a reporter, a journalist. And he said, apart from the fight, I want to talk about your life.
Mm-hmm.
So we met up in Bath. It was like a 2-hour journey in the van. And on the way up, I cried my eyes out like a bawling baby because I knew what I was going to talk about. I haven't talked about this in years.
Mm-hmm.
I'd done little glimpses. I talked about my past, about foster care, etc., in little podcasts, on interviews after the fight. But I thought, I need to go all in on this. All in. I mean, I'm talking about things in my personal life that I haven't told anybody, not even my wife, my ex-wife. I talked about things in this interview that nobody knew. And I'd done it to a stranger. And I thought, I got overwhelmed. I was thinking what I was saying. And when I'd done the actual interview, he was writing in an encrypted writing. He was not like normal. Mm-hmm. He was writing as like a certain script. It was like certain symbols. It was amazing. He's a proper journalist. And it was 6 hours. 6 hours. I sat there and I talked about some fucking deep shit. Like, and I was just like, and after that, I don't know why, I was mad. The whole crowd just was like, yeah. And I needed to do that. And after that, I felt so much more open to talk. And I started doing work at the time when I was home with fathers who had lost their children through drugs and alcohol. And I started doing talks around schools. And obviously in schools, there's got to be a certain borderline what you say. But I started doing 8-week courses with dads who were going through drugs and alcohol and they lost their children, or they're on the brink of getting them back. But one more strike, I think, is going to be a long journey. And it was amazing. I got, in one of my sessions in 45 minutes, I got more information out of them in 45 minutes than the journalist had in 3 years. Because I could talk about the details. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The details that you don't know those details unless you've been through that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's just where I am right now, and being able to talk and come on podcasts and speak to people like yourself, be really so open about it. I just feel really privileged about that, and just thank you for today. Appreciate it.
Well, I think that's, from hearing your story, I think it's unbelievably important that you do it and that you talk about it and you tell people where you've come from to where you are. Because as you said, it inspires so many people and people understand it. And I have much more respect's the wrong word, but respect for you. And, like you said, I vibe when you're on a completely different level and I connect with you differently. And everyone watching this will as well. I think I'd encourage you to do it more, to talk about it more. Even like you said, do the live Instagrams, all that sort of stuff. I think it's a super important message because I know young men and older men that are struggling with things and they need a release and they need a person to help them, get through it. And listening to your story could possibly do that. So I really encourage that you do that. So thank you for sharing it with me. I appreciate it.